What the hell are we doing? This is a phrase I find myself saying surprisingly often. Sometimes I say it out of pure frustration, like, what the hell are we doing? And sometimes I end up saying it from a place of self-doubt, like, what the hell am I doing here? And sometimes we say it as a sort of call to action, right? Like, we at Modern Tribe, like, what the hell are we doing? What are we going to do today? What's going to be next for us? I'm going to talk a little bit about our foray into a products-based business. And today I've got 6 random lessons for you. And you might be wondering why 6? 10 would make a better link bait article. But these are really just 6 things that we've learned, right? If I were to try and do 10, I would only have 3 minutes per thing, and you guys want to learn a whole lot. Before I get too far into it, some terminology. Client services, like when I say client services, I mean, or service business or agency, I mean somebody approaches you, they have an idea, they want a thing, you make that thing, you give it to them, it's a one-to-one transaction, right? And a product business, this is where you have the idea. This is your thing, and you make it, and you try and sell that same thing to lots of people, right? And this could be a plugin, it could be a theme. For purposes of this discussion, this could be something more like a SaaS. It could even be, something like support contracts, things like that. But the idea is that you make one thing and sell that one thing over and over and over again. So the first thing that we've learned, the first thing that I've learned, is that products rule and services kind of sucks, right? There are lots of people that work in client services in the room. What is the worst part about working for client services? Clients suck, right? Do away with the clients and it's pretty fun, right? So when you become your own client, it's nothing but bunnies and rainbows from here out, right? Instead of clients, you end up with customers. And customers, well, certainly customers don't ever talk shit about you on Twitter. That never happens, right? I never log on to .org and see a 1-star review because our event calendar plugin doesn't import somebody's Twitter stream. Why would it do that? I don't know, right? You certainly never get sued, right? Because your plugin doesn't play nice with somebody else's $15 theme forest theme, right? That never happens. The sad truth is that customers kind of suck too, right? And of course, I'm sort of kidding, right? I'm in a position where I get to work in services and in products, right? I split my time about 60-40 services to products, right? And on the service side, some of our clients are legitimately dear friends of mine. I eat at their house, they know my kids, right? These are people that I care a lot about. They make us do better work, they push us, they demand a lot, they're smart, they're dedicated, sometimes they're crazy, right? And on the customer side, right, on the product side, these people that buy, our silly little products go out and do amazing things with them, right? They are people legitimately changing the world, legitimately making the world a better place, and I am super lucky to just get to help them a smidgen, right? They're kind, gracious people, most of them, right? So really, the first thing that we've learned is not so much that products is awesome and services sucks, or that one is necessarily inherently better than the other, right? It's that products and services together can be pretty fantastic, right? It's one of the two, for us at least at Modern Tribe, those two things work together that some really great things have happened. And it's not at all accidental, right? We at Modern Tribe, when we ask, what the hell are we doing? We're trying to build a company that lasts a long time, right? 20 years from now, I want to still be hanging out
with these crazy people that I work with that I love dearly, building stuff that I'm proud of, right? I want to keep doing that. And one of the ways that we have sort of strategically decided to achieve that goal is by diversifying what it is that we do, right? I'm confident in our service agency. We're pretty good. We've been doing it for a long time, and we can adapt. We can learn new things. I'm confident that our service business will continue to grow. On the product side of things are a little bit more nebulous. I don't know what's going to happen to WordPress, right? I don't know what's going to happen to the market. I don't know what all of my competition is going to do, right? It's a young market. So together, we get to have crazy adventures on products. We get the commitment of our service agency. Those two things, those two businesses combined sort of make up Modern Tribe. I think, pretty confident saying, 2 years, 3 years, I would hope that we would have a third pillar to our business. I don't know what it's going to be. If somebody has a great idea, you can tell me. But that's very much strategically part of how we're going about building our business as a whole. So why do products and services together, right? If this is a highly technical graph of what services look like at Modern Tribe, right? Even when things are good, right? Even when you're selling a lot of projects, you've got customers knocking on your door, you're knocking stuff out, you're sending invoices, you can have no money, right? Given the nature of services, things are cyclical. If you've ever tried to do collections in a service agency, that sucks. It's really hard. It's not any easier when your company gets bigger, right? Trying to shake down a Fortune 500 company for like an invoice, they will just laugh at you, tell you you have to apply to some payment gateway system that's going to cost you money for them to pay you for the work that you just did. And what do? Like, okay, right? So the other way to look at this graph is also to think to some degree about profits, right? In a really simple fashion. The service business has the potential for some really big wins, right? If you ever like bid on a project and it just goes swimmingly, it goes so much easier than you thought, and there's the ability to, sort of have a big win, right? And whether you're a fixed base bidder or an hourly bidder, there are different ways, right? And on the flip side, right, a poorly placed semicolon on the wrong day can really cost you a lot of money, right? So there's sort of an erratic nature to that service business. The products business generally looks something like this, right? This is our experience. I can't speak for the whole industry, but once we hit a certain amount of volume, the sales of our product are incredibly predictable. We see a flux of 3 to 5% a month. That is so much clearer and so much easier. It's such an easier business to manage than that erratic service business. So these two things together, this sort of stability, predictability of product-based income, flattening out the erratic nature of the service business, lets us do really cool things, like say no to bad projects. Right? It lets us be really strategic about our investments because we know from month to month our cash position is very predictable. We know what we're going to do. So though boring, like being able to manage your position from a really informed position has been like a huge boon to Modern Tribe as a whole. Right? Here's the other big thing that we found about the two playing together. Right? Literally, people pay us to build our products, which we then sell. Right? If you want to start a new business or a new product, there are different ways that you can go about doing that. You could get an investor, right? Swap some ownership for that. You can bootstrap. I'm sure there are a lot of people in here that are bootstrapping their own products, right? They're working nights, weekends, say goodbye to your fun and family and exercise and all of that stuff, right? I'm not so keen on either of those approaches. I'm open to them. There are times when that stuff's appropriate, but let me tell you, having somebody pay you to make a product and build your own business is a pretty sweet spot to be in, right? Our first products came about because they are things that we had built for clients more than once, right? We built it one time, then we built it a second time. I think we even built it a third time before somebody was like, hey, I know what we could do. Maybe lots of people are going to want this, right? And this has happened over the entire course of our products-based business. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that you should make a website for your client and then sell it someplace else, swap logos or something like that. But what we do is look for opportunities for overlap, right? Jake is talking about or asking questions about sometimes like, would you negotiate on price for something? Sometimes we will if we know that there's an opportunity there to leverage that product or project into our products business, right? And this happens surprisingly often, right? It's an idea that we think of like commoditizing our byproducts. What are the things that we've already done and how can we get more value out of them, right? It's pretty sweet. This is the second thing that I learned, right? I'm not a marketer by nature or by practice or education. So when we launched our products, you can have this feeling where you're like, I built this wonderful thing. Everybody is going to love it if only they knew that it existed, right? And you can certainly go out and rally a crowd and try to bring them to you. But if you're just starting out, it's often easier for you to go to where the crowd is and sell to them there. We did this in kind of a couple ways. The first is WordPress.org, right? There are lots of arguments for and against freemium, and I'm not going to rail too hard on any particular business model, but I can tell you that the traffic and the conversion that we get from having a free plugin on WordPress.org is instrumental to our success, right? Our core plugin on .org has 1 million some users. I didn't have to find those. They found us. And that has been extremely, extremely powerful, right? With the added benefit of getting to give back. And there are challenges that come with that. By all means, it is difficult to run a free product and a commercial product at the same time. The benefits for us have far outweighed those challenges. The second place, the hotly contested Envato, right? There are places where people are shopping, like Envato. And there's Creative Market, and there's all kinds of new ones popping up. I think we're going to see more of those before we see less of them, right? And we all sort of love to hate that. But the truth is, we participated in the very first Code Canyon launch, right? It was a unique opportunity that we had. We were looking for ways to start to sell our product. And we didn't know if it was a good idea. We didn't know if it was going to work. Right? And this idea of failing fast or failing, I like to say efficiently, we were able to get our product out to market into customer hands without building a shopping cart, without having to manage distribution, right? Without having to make sure our server is SSL'd and all that stuff, without having to worry about getting hacked. Right? That was very powerful to us. Like, we were able to launch product very quickly, and we were able to see how that product performed. Right? We were on Code Canyon for a while, and we left, right? And I'm so thankful. I will say, out to the internet, I am so thankful that we got the opportunity to participate in that space. I'm very grateful that it existed. I'm not sure that we would be here today without having had that opportunity. But I'm also really glad that we left, right? Because leaving did a couple of things for us, right? It let us control our relationship with our customers. It let us control the terms with which our customers buy our products. It let us control our price point. It let us control our customer service and support relationships. The number of things that you give up when you sell on somebody else's marketplace it's high. So you have to be thinking about that balance, right? The benefits of getting to market quickly, the benefits of accessing an audience versus giving up that kind of control. The other thing, and I'll touch on it just briefly, is this. Right? When we were at Code Canyon, it was essentially like a lifetime license model, right? You buy it once, you get every update in perpetuity, right? And this topic has been sort of hotly debated. I don't know if it's actually debated. People are pissed off about it, but everybody seems to be relatively clear that lifetime licenses are really a bad idea. The obvious reason is that you have ongoing support costs of carrying a customer, right? From year to year, they paid once. And that's true, absolutely. Customers that aren't continually paying for the value that they're getting in support, that's a drain for sure. But you also have to consider the loss of compounding income, right? Really quickly, like real quick math. Think about selling your product 100 times. It takes a certain amount of effort, right? You have 100 customers. The next year, the same amount of effort nets you 100 customers, right? Maybe a little bit more. Maybe you get a little bit better. If you are able to retain some percentage of the previous year, that same effort, your business now has 150 customers. The next year, same effort, same 100 new customers, 50 from the year before, 50 from the year before that. You've now doubled your business with the same amount of effort, right? That's what really, like the loss of that opportunity is really what kills you with the lifetime license. It's not just the ongoing support cost, right? Here's something else, though, to think about. One thing that we've had some success with is leveraging other people's audiences, right? After this talk, I'm just now realizing you're going to think, wow, these guys at Modern Tribes are just leeches, right? People like Pippin at Easy Digital Downloads. He's created a product. He's found an audience. He's gathered all those people together. And we've said, how can we sell to them, right? How can we craft a product that solves that particular audience's needs, right? And we were able to do that with him and with the guys that are the gang at Woo Themes, right? And that's one way that you don't necessarily have to build an audience. You don't have to necessarily be an exceptional marketer if you're really strategic about where you're positioning your products, right? So something else to think about. Jumping in a totally different direction. Tiny little releases. If there is one thing, this is the big thing that I have learned, is that smaller is much better than bigger, right? If you are ever around people from Modern Tribe and you mention the phrase events 3.0, anybody that is still around from that debacle will tense up just a little bit because those were some very dark days at our company, right? We went into a rebuild of our sort of core product suite with the best of intentions, but better intentions than plans, right? What started as like just a small update became like, oh, let's add in this feature, and like, oh, that feature plus this feature, maybe we should re-architect this little nugget over here. And oh, then we had some service clients who were like, oh, let's add mapping and actually Ajax the whole thing. And like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. And it snowballed, right? It snowballed in a big way. The team didn't know what was going on. Different people on the project were all working and doing their best by all means, but there was no high-level vision, there was no structure, and the worst part is there was no end in sight. We got ourselves so far down into the rabbit hole that to some degree we couldn't go back, right? And getting in that position for us is really problematic, right? That means we're covering the cost of all of that development, but we're not able to recoup that through new sales, right? We can't say, hey, there's all these great new features because we can't ship them yet, right? So that means we're investing lots of money up front into our product without the ability to sort of recoup or refill that investment pool, right? It also means that we couldn't respond to our customers very well, right? They have bugs, and if you've ever worked on a refactor, do you want to solve a bug on like code that you know is about to go away? Like absolutely not. Like you have no interest in solving code that you know is about to be deprecated. So the long story short is be nimble, right? Be careful, be strategic. This has had a huge effect on how we run projects across the board at Modern Tribe, right? What you'll find now is that with our product suite, we generally ship a new release every 1 to 2 months, right? Rather than once every 8 to 9 months or once a year. Like, we're trying to ship code very often. And this is basically how we do it, right? We build a big backlog. We track bugs. We track new feature requests. We spend a week deciding what it is that we're going to try and tackle with this release. We do a bunch of work. We QA, we test, we ship. We do it all over again. And we do this with hopefully a high degree of regularity. This means that we lose the opportunity to say, ta-da, now with X and Y feature, and it's so much better, and it's, our releases generally go like this. Hey, we fixed a bunch of bugs, we added this feature and this little feature over here, we'll see you next month, right? And though that's maybe less compelling a sales story, what it has hopefully done is build brand recognition